Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas, on Wednesday, January the 31st. Welcome to our video commentary. Well, let's talk a little bit about the State of the Union speech. I think, on balance, it was a good speech. It accomplished the political objectives because this is a political speech. And this is what people need to understand. This is a political speech. I know that it started out in the Constitution as a written report, a State of the Union report, but it has become a political speech. It is one of the 2 or 3 opportunities a year that the president gets to talk to the country, that everybody's listening to him. So obviously, it's a political speech, and it's always presented from a political perspective. I mean, I find it amusing, all these people checking what he said. Is it true? Is it not true? Look, it's a political speech, so let's leave it at that. As far as the content, I think that he made a very good case for the economy. Now, of course, when you own the economy, which is what the Republicans have made a bet. And the bet is that the economy in 2018 is going to be good, and they're going to get credit for that in November. I happen to agree with that bet. I think that is a correct bet. But any time that you own something in politics on a partisan basis, if there's a problem, of course, you're going to be blamed. And all you have to do is look at Obamacare. Obamacare was passed with only Democrats. So when things didn't go well, it was the Democrats who have a problem. So it would have been better if some Democrats had voted for the tax bill, but it turned out that way. So clearly, President Trump and the Republicans are walking into the election owning this economy. Again, I think they're going to do okay with it, but I think we have to understand the risk of owning something on a partisan basis. That's the only point I'm trying to make. As far as the immigration topic, that received a great deal of coverage. I think President Trump won the security debate a couple of weeks ago when Democrats did not go along with their leader to shut down the government. These are Democrats in red states like North Dakota, Missouri, and so on. So I think President Trump has won this debate. Now, I think he has an interest, a personal interest in seeing that these dreamers are legalized. I think he wants to do that. But really, it's up to the Democrats right now. And I think it's up to the dreamers. If they want something done, and I assume they do, they're going to have to start putting pressure on Democrats to negotiate. Because what's on the table is on the table. I think that that's about as good as they're going to get. There may be some minor variations, but I think President Trump, as I said, has won the debate on immigration, at least when it comes to the dreamers. Now, some of the other aspects of the speech were interesting. I thought the selection of the guests were absolutely fabulous. The people selected and why they were selected, I thought that was a really big plus politically again for the president. In that sense, I think he did a great job. Now, I thought there's always a silly story, of course, when you do these presidential speeches. And I think last night, the 2 silly stories, the first one was the Democrats, who sat there like a bunch of kids in the auditorium in school who were being forced to listen to a speech by the principal or something. I mean, they look silly. I mean, it's just absolutely silly. I mean, you know, it's like they were just like sitting there like, you know, they were being forced to listen to this. Come on, guys. Okay, when President Trump was talking about infrastructure could be really beneficial for many of these cities run by Democrats where they need job creation and they need some investment. So I thought silly story number 1 was the reaction of the Democrats who honestly were just looking rather silly. Silly story number 2 has to be the reaction to the First Lady. Now, I didn't see it initially because I was teaching that night, but on the way home and then later I saw the video. And the First Lady came in wearing a very elegant white pantsuit, I guess, and she looked awfully elegant and awfully nice, as she always does. And this has now become a controversy, whether or not she was wearing a white pantsuit to make a political statement. That is about as silly as anything I've heard recently. She wore a white pantsuit because it looks awfully good on her, and she looked awfully good. And I'm sure most American women were saying, gee, what a pretty First Lady we have. And that's it. But it just seems to me that sometimes the silliness of our politics gets to a point where you just have to scratch your head and say, don't these people have something else to worry about? I guess they don't. I guess they would rather talk about the white pantsuit that the First Lady was wearing and whether or not that was a political statement. I guess that's a lot better to talk about than the recent news about the economy, or maybe that generic congressional poll that keeps shrinking every week. Anyway, great speech. Now let's have follow-up. That's always important. When you have a speech, you have to have follow-up. And let's see what happens. But I guess we can all sit around now and speculate about what the First Lady is going to wear the next time. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. We have all of these over at YouTube. We have them on Twitter, and we also have them on my blog. Have a good day. Bye-bye, everybody.